Infinity Castle. Kaigaku versus Zenitsu. So I would love to go see this in the theater, but I don't think I'll get a chance. I would love to. I'm waiting for the HD version to come out online. So it's going to be so good. If you've seen it already, let me know if it is good. So we got to diagonally draw. This is like from a teaser trailer of the fight between these two guys. So we have to like divide our page diagonally. So you just want to leave yourself enough room for their heads either side. So like I'd say, like if you started like here for Zenitsu, and it'll go like that way, so you can fit like his head, so it'll go like up to here. And of course, you can add the lightning effect around it if you want. Not essential. It is an extra step that some people might prefer to avoid. But we'll do the diagonal line this way anyway. And if we want, we can add a couple of little lightning effects around it at the end. But for me, this is a decent enough way to begin. You know, so. And you can thicken it up, you can keep it thin, you can add lightning shapes around it as you draw it if you want. You know, we've done these kind of split portraits a couple of times, so you know, it's kind of the same each time anyway. Alright, so roughly like that. And I'd say, what's that? I don't know, are they exactly the same? 20. Yeah, close enough. This one's probably a bit thinner, but that's okay. So let's see. So we start with Zenitsu, and it's serious Zenitsu. So same portrait, we drew him like this already. So let's start with his eyes. About just slightly above the halfway point. Say the center point is here, come up, and his eyes will be along this. We'll start with the one on the right. Why not? So diagonal. And then across the top. Kind of flat. It's, you know, serious, intense. Zenitsu means business. And then spiky Demon Slayer eyelashes. So you're just drawing this shape that you can add black inside. And as usual, Demon Slayer has like a few extra little spikes and stuff coming off the front. Bottom eyelid line, down, across to there. It's kind of thicker in the middle usually. And then there's like some stress lines just around his eye, because he's stressed out for reasons that you'll know when you watch it, obviously. Or if you read the manga. Golden sort of glowing eye. Half circle coming down from the top eyelid line into there. And then like his iris. So we'll do, like, you could do the half circle, but it looks just pure black in this because of the contrast. So maybe I'll do that. So we'll just go like, now I think in the show it's probably like brown in there, but just for the purposes of this we'll go black. Why not? Because it does look black, but I think the original character design, it might be like a bit browner, and they do like hatching and stuff inside. This probably keeps it a bit easier first. Right, his eyebrow then, so above there. So some eyelid lines, but we'll do a spiky sort of eyebrow thing here first. It kind of curves its way around here. goes underneath his hair, but we will draw it in, right? And we can erase afterwards. So this sort of spiky eyebrow. And then these vertical sort of lines here. These sort of lines that come, texture lines on the end of his eyebrow. And then we have an eyelid line. An eyelid line coming down here. They also do like loads of hatching, you know, on the shadow underneath his hair. You could do that if you want. Yeah, it just makes it look probably a bit more intense than. And right, so other eye, same again, basically. Add that little spike, and then the shape that we can color black. Bottom eyelid coming down here. It's kind of like a stretched out sort of V shape. It's like an angle. And it's kind of usually thicker in at the corner here. And then he has stress lines just coming around, light ones. And then that golden glowing iris, the color part of his eye. And then we'll go for the black. I'll do it black just in this, like the other side. Right then, so eyebrow again, sharp sort of spike at the front here. And then we go to the two pointy sort of things, like a fish fin or something. Underneath his hair, but we'll draw it all in, it's easier. And then we have some hair texture lines. Remember, hit pause if I go too fast. Go at your own pace. Slow it down. Speed it up. Whatever suits. Mute it to stop me talking. Got some like eyebrow lines and nose lines and stuff. Some sort of wrinkly frowns thing inside here. Do. Right, so Demon Slayer nose, fairly basic, so we just curve down that way. And then this one's kind of slightly higher up, just up there. And sometimes they put a shadow in that side of his nose. And then there's that hatching on the bridge of his nose, just like a shadow sort of thing. And then his mouth, very grumpy Zenitsu, so curving. And he has dimples sort of in at the end here. And then they got that shadow on his chin. Sort of V. And then chin down here. So face shape is kind of like a wine glass, right? It's kind of a gradual turn. So it goes out this way, and it starts to turn up the side of his face, right? So this sort of wine glass shape. So it starts to go up this way now. He meets his hair kind of beside his eye somewhere. So say here. Okay. So kind of like a wine glass sort of shape. Now, lots of hair. So let's see what we can do with this. So we got these flat, you know, pieces of hair that Zenitsu has. And his ear just comes down from here. Now we should see something similar over this side, so we'll just do that, and then his earlobe. Everything's kind of glowy in here, so it's not as visible. Just add some ear lines. And then this sort of hair starts then. So his fringe just sort of comes across here, all these square hair patterns. Like one sort of down the middle. Coming right across the center of his face. And then down to here. Another one going that way. So going that way. So what way is his hair then on this side? So like it's very shiny over here, but I'll finish this side and see if I can get it sort of even. So we'll go up here for his hair going that way. And there's some that stick out behind his ear. One here. All these flat sort of. Okay, so then if I was to imagine, where would maybe like just a piece of hair coming down here then? Very difficult to see. Maybe that's too wide. No, maybe not. Okay, so then there's like some textures just on each of these, like just lines coming up them. there, and then there's some that come down his ear here. That means there should be some in there, probably. Just behind his neck. So maybe I'll draw his neck on this side, the collar, and we can get a better idea maybe of where these hair spikes would be. So I'll just do the same thing, sort of. Yeah, that's not too bad. Right, so we'll finish his Demon Slayer uniform. Collar just comes across there. Then the middle line. Neck muscles. Right, that white collar down around like so. This sort of shape. Then it has a line in the middle. And then we'll go this way for his yellow kimono. You can't really see the other side of it. We've got maybe one of those triangles here. There's a little button. Just there, some details, and then some folding lines. And so therefore, there should be his collar there. All right. Not bad. So let's do Kaigaku over this side. So he looks nuts. Right, so we got one small eye, one big eye. So like, you know, that crazy look that they do for anime characters. So we start with his smaller eye, just here. Kind of lower than Zenitsu's. So let's just go curving up. And then to a sort of a spike in the corner. And then it kind of comes down, and I will thicken these lines up now. But we'll just get the shape in first. And they do they draw in that round tear duct in Demon Slayer. So you need to go around this again like we did that one. So we'll go real big spike here. Then down around to there. And then maybe like eyelids going that way and that way. Then you want to go dark black, so you just color it all in. And then he has a very, very small pupil. Or a small green iris, really, should I say. And then we're writing. He took Upper Moon what? What was it? Can't remember now. 3, 4? But this calligraphy stuff, it always trips me up, so forgive me now if I butcher this, but I can. It's very, very small. So we'll go, there's like a long shape there, and then some like squiggly lines. So something like that, but it's very difficult to make out because it's so small. So then he has hyper-aggressive, angry eyebrows. How can eyebrows be aggressive? I'll show you. So curve a line that way. There. Change direction. Change direction again. And then spike. Very sharp. Like really sharp there. And then it goes back in. There. Change direction down. Into the corner. Up. See? Hyper-aggressive eyebrows. And then eyelid line here. And sort of down this way. And he has some like lines just under his eyes as well. And a lot of frowns and a lot of wrinkles. And we will go over and do his bigger crazy eye. So just across from this, you have his tear duct here. Now Demon Slayer eyes aren't in proportion. So it's probably like 3/4 of his eye, probably from the tear ducts, probably to this bend is probably the distance over, you know. It's not a full eye, it's narrower because the eyes are so big. And then we will do the big crazy eye. Curving around. And then we need to go around again. And color it in then. So make sure you add the big spike in the corner. Down. And then just make it as dark as you can. Righty. Large green, well, small green circle. And then with something written in here. So some stress lines around his eye. And then big angry eyebrow. What is always right there, and that one higher up. Yeah, it is. And we go that way, down. Change angle, and up to there. And then we have a big frown line. Eyelid lines. Nearly forgot those. And wrinkles on his nose. Right, his nose pretty much the same as Zenitsu's, just like nostril, maybe like a shadowy line there, and then those hatching lines. Sorry about the rain noise, if you can hear that, it's pretty loud. Windy and rainy here in Ireland. So he's got a massive happy looking mouth. He's delighted to be fighting Zenitsu. So it starts out here, the corner of it, right? So big. And then this comes across, down in the middle, back up. And then goes down this way. And we'll just shade her in the corner. Top teeth. So he's got those fangs either side. And then it goes across together. And then, is that his tongue? Yeah, okay. So he's got like these fangs at the bottom as well. And then his teeth seem to just curve around like so. And then the tongue is in between, like a love heart, sort of top of a love heart shape. Double bump. And then this looks like... That doesn't make sense to me. Sorry, Demon Slayer. What are those? What are those? I'm going to leave mine like this because they look like they put his teeth going that way. Like his molars at the back. That doesn't make a lick of sense. Is that an error? Is that an error, maybe? I don't know. I'm just going to do that like the back of his throat. Like, because his teeth should go around his tongue. So that doesn't make sense that there's white teeth there. Anyway, if you look at the image, if you know what I'm talking about, like, you'll see it. So it kind of doesn't make sense. Okay. So I'm not going to do it. What do I know? But still, that just doesn't make sense to me. I've drawn a lot of these characters. That looks like an error. So they've got the triangle there for the shadow underneath his bottom lip. And then his chin. Pretty much same face shape as Zenitsu has. Now, there is, like, his hair sort of hangs down lower on one side, right? So we'll go up as far as we can on this side, but we got to stop like here, like across from his tongue, maybe on that side. So we'll do wine glass shape here. Alright, and then, so this one won't go as far. So I'm going to stop it here, because he's got these long hair spikes that come down this side of his face, right? Now, what way is his hair there? Does that keep going? Oh no, there's a hair spike here. So like a bit of his long hair comes in here. And then hair spike here. And then this is like super long. So this looks like all hair here then. Where? Okay, I'm going to guess that. Yeah, you got to guess this because there's some lightning on this side, so I'm not entirely sure what way that goes. But we can see this, so I'll fill this in. One, two, and another. And another spike. I guess that's his hair going off that way. Now on this side, everything's black, so I'll just make this up. So I'm going to do this one here, and then the long one probably going this way. So if that has two hanging down, maybe there's another one here. And then this one slightly goes up. So that's hair, is it? And then so that should be another one. And this is like the side of that. Kind of looks like Rengoku. A crazy version. And then he seems to have hair spikes here. You can see a bit of his ear. So that's his shoulder, his ear in here. Okay, and then so he's got a fringe that comes across like all here. I'll do my best with this because it's kind of covered by the lightning, I think. Okay. So again, we cannot see much up here. So let's see, we got some going this way, there. Where does that go? Bring them down. So that's pretty close to the top of his head, I'd say. So I'll just do that. And then, not sure now. Should we see the top of his head there, maybe? Maybe not. Hard to know. That doesn't look too bad. So he's got a vein coming in on his forehead here, and then he has kind of like markings, kind of like a tiger, kind of. Just coming in on his face. Okay, and then we should see his back sort of go off this way, and then his back go on that way. Right, so I think we can see, is that his earlobe? Very dark. So let's try our best. So this goes this way, I think, and down. And then the collar on this side, down. And then he has like a white collar here. And the edge of that goes that way. And then something like that over here. So white collar. Down there. Like a fold line here. So there's like a necklace or something inside here, but it's not clear. It's like a choker sort of necklace coming across this way, and it has like gems and jewels and sort of little bumps and stuff on it here. And I think it just goes around his neck. Let's see, little like neck muscles. So like there's like some orange stuff there or something. We can just see the hilt of his sword kind of here. Alrighty. I think that's the best thing to do. And of course, if you wanted like lightning effects and stuff, you can. But that's optional. Might complicate things unnecessarily. There you go. Hope it's helpful. Can't wait to see it in HD. See you in the next one. Bye.